I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst miscarriage of justice that this world has ever seen.
Bruh, I just want you to know, bruh. Nigga, I was just so fucking drunk, nigga. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro.
What's good, RIZZLE fam? Looks like Tory Lanez was found guilty of all charges that were put to his name. He's facing some serious jail time, and we're here to tell you about his reaction to what he and his fans believe is a wrong sentence. Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion had an incident back in 2020 that'll be talked about for quite some time to come. That night changed both of their lives completely. And not for the better. See, the two had a nasty fight that was filled with a lot of booze and probably misunderstandings. In any case, what kicked off with words ended up with bullets and Megan got shot. Fast forward 2 years and we got Tory Lanez looking at 20 plus years behind bars. How did we get there and what was Tory's reaction? Was he actually wrongfully sentenced? Let's see where the story takes us. As we briefly mentioned, the incident between two hip-hop artists Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez took place during the summer of 2020. On July 12th, Megan was shot in the foot, and only a couple of days later she made it clear who shot her.
Since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying.
The whole hype train of Tory and Meg that would last until this very day started back then when Megan uploaded this video. The court case was opened a few months later in October of 2020 when a lawsuit was filed against Tory. Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, was charged today in case BA 490599 with 1 felony count each of assault with semi-automatic firearm, personal use of firearm, and carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle. The defendant also faces a gun allegation that he personally inflicted great bodily injury. Tory Lanez kept his cool for quite some time, and he didn't want to publicly address this whole situation because he knew very well that he could only make things worse. So he kept his mouth shut in the beginning. In the caption of one of his Instagram photos that was used as the album cover for his album Daystar, we see a pretty neat explanation of what he thought was the smart thing to do in his position. He said, "There's a time to stay silent and a time to speak. I said all I could say on this, all platforms, in 5 minutes, Daystar." And then his album got released, and the very first track on the album, called Money Over Fallouts, chips in on the topic immediately. And here he rhymes, "Girl, you had the nerve to write that statement on an affidavit, knowing I ain't do it, but I'm coming at my truest, trying to keep this 200 with you, shorty, I could prove it." As you could tell from the lyrics, this was no one-sided story. In fact, there are so many sides and versions of this story that it's pretty easy to get confused. But regardless, one thing was certain at this point. This was about to be one big drama, and it delivered beyond anybody's expectation. In fact, Megan Thee Stallion used this as an opportunity to raise awareness for other people who went through similar trauma like she did. From her point of view, this was never a matter of whether or not he did it. Of course, he did. What occupied her mind was how to mentally recover from such an incident and how she could help others who go through the same similar stuff. On the other hand, all Tory was working on was trying to find a way to duck at least some of the charges that were tied to his name. However, a few weeks ago, we found out that he wasn't very successful with that strategy at all. Tory Lanez was found guilty of all the charges that he was accused of. Jury convicted him on all 3 accounts: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharge of a firearm with gross negligence. There's no footage of the trial, but we do have bits and pieces of Megan's testimony. She said that she exited the car and wanted to leave when Lanez shot her. Megan told the court, "I started walking away and I hear Tory yell, 'Dance,' bitch." She tearfully testified, according to Billboard. "I froze. I just felt shock. I felt hurt. I looked down at my feet and all I see is blood." Soon after the news got out that Tory Lanez was found guilty, all kinds of rumors and stories started spreading on the internet. And of course, as it usually goes, some of the evidence that was used in the trial was leaked to the public. There's also a recording of a conversation between Tory Lanez and Kelsey Harris, Megan's friend, who was also present at the time of the incident. You listen to the conversation, you can hear Tory explaining what happened at the night of the incident, and in his voice, you can hear a lot of sadness and regret. He said,
"Bruh, I just want you to know, bruh. Nigga, I was just so fucking drunk, nigga. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. Deadass. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, bro. Like, deadass, nigga. I'd never do some shit like that, bro. Just that, nigga, I was so fucking drunk, nigga. I just didn't even understand what the fuck was going on, bro. Like, so, whatever, bro. But, you know, regardless, that's not gonna make anything right. And that's not gonna make my actions right, bro. But need to be sorry, bro. I never even moved like that, bro.
There were a lot of comments online on his leaked piece of evidence, naturally. Some say it was basically self-snitching. It's a dry confession on a jail phone. I mean, what else could he be referring to? Others focused on the fact that he admitted to doing all those things that he was accused of. No man would call to apologize with such a melodramatic tone, blaming alcohol if he wasn't guilty. Anyone who refuses to acknowledge that fact is blind. But Tory Lanez ex-lawyer tuned into the story and gave us his take on the conversation. According to him, there was no snitching, and there actually was a reason why that phone call took place. Apparently, Tory was not sorry for the shooting, but for hurting Kelsey's feelings. As it turns out, he had an intimate relationship with both of them, and that caused some serious problems between Megan and Kelsey. We don't know for sure if that is really what happened, but what we do know is that Tory Lanez was in fact found guilty and that he's going to jail. Even though when Tory was asked in front of the court whether or not he was guilty, he said that he wasn't. But during the 9-day trial that took place in LA, he again kept his mouth shut and did not take the stand to try to defend himself. He had all his faith in the attorneys, but it seems like it didn't work out that well. Then the leaked conversation wasn't the only piece of evidence used against Tory in his trial. There were also photos of Kelsey completely bruised up from her head to toe. Plus, there's a photo showing that she's missing hair as well. And an additional photo was presented in front of the court that clearly showed the gun was found in the car in which he was arrested. Now, not everyone believes Megan's part of the story, and there are some loyal Tory fans out there who still want to see the man walk away from this situation as a free man. One of the people who deemed the court's decision as completely false and wrong was Tory's dad, Sunstar Peterson. He claimed publicly that injustice was dealt to his son and that he's going to try his very best to show how it happened. Therefore, a petition was started by his dad and others who think he's right, and they demand that an appeal is given to Tory. They claim that Megan lied in front of the court and that the story of the prosecutors doesn't add up. If you ask him, the story they presented in front of the court just doesn't add up, and it's all full of contradictions. They're also playing a drunk card, saying people don't recall correctly what exactly happened the night because everyone who was present was intoxicated. The petition already had enough signatures to be taken to court, but that doesn't mean that it will be taken into consideration just yet. Objectively speaking, people are generally disappointed to see what's going on between these two, especially since there's a lot of empty talk going online, and 99% of those people who are talking have nothing to do with either one of these two. It's actually disgusting how quickly people are to mindlessly take sides in situations like this, especially when it pertains to two celebrities who y'all don't even know. But then there are those who are actually happy to see Tory found guilty. They think he deserved it and that he should go to jail. I'm just so disgusted by this entire situation. I'm so happy that justice is finally being served. We still don't know exactly how long Tory's going to be behind bars. The maximum amount of time that he can get for the charges that he got is a bit under 23 years. However, most people believe that he will not get the maximum. But what y'all think about this dramatic situation that shook the media in the last few years? You think Tory is guilty, or do you think Megan's pushing her story just to see him suffer because of the trauma that he caused her? Also, how many years do you think he'll get for what he did? Let us in on your take about this whole story in the comments section below. If you like this video, feel free to drop that like and subscribe to our channel. Tell a friend or two about it. Thanks again for watching to the very end, and as always, remember to keep it RIZZLE.